What is up, everybody? Hello, welcome back to the stream. Sakito, yes. It is the best quality GIF I could find to possibly ever start a stream, so I'm like, that's it. I am totally stealing this. It is going up as my pre-warm-up, which it has been for probably just about a year now, I want to say. So I was trying to think, like, well, what can I play in the beginning part? And it's like, well, that seems to work just well enough for me. Some people have fancy videos, overlays. I'm barely functional, so yeah, that's what we get as a quality shitposting Simpsons gift instead. But enough about that, as I'm cleaning my eyeballs, so to speak, aka glasses. Tonight's main goal of the stream is basically to play some fighting games, Super Nintendo fighting games. There were a lot on this system, and probably be playing some games you probably have seen, have heard about, know about. That's going to be expected. Probably play some games you might not have heard of. So we'll see what we get. Also, I'm always open to suggestions like this. If you have a good Super Nintendo fighting game in mind, let me know. I'm just going to say spoilers right now that Gundam Wing Endless Duel is on the list. I actually own the Japanese card of that. But I'm just going to be playing everything on emulator because I'm going to use my fight stick, because that's a lot easier on my hands versus my thumbs, which have a lot of arthritis. So that out of the way, let's get RetroArch fired up. Okay, and we'll switch over. Scene, blackness, darkness. There we go. Alright. Best fighting game ever is, I would have to say, Driving Miss Daisy Simulator, 1998. Very, very rare game. Very few people know about that, but the part where Hulk just beats the crap out of Miss Daisy is just, it's breathtaking. I mean, you got to really try to hit that 7-hit combo in order to make it land, because if you drop it, she will just counter you instantly. It's ruthless. Let's see what we got here. I need to go to, let's see, first one, over to the Super Nintendo collection. Yeah, unfortunately, I have the only card in existence that has not been dumped into RAM. You know, you're going to have to totally trust me that this totally, absolutely exists, and I'm not lying to you right now, ever. I mean, why? Who would do something that despicable? I mean, that's just crazy talk. Yeah, speaking of which, Mahjong, yeah, the Shogi, best Ultimate Fighting. This is a lovely program called RetroArch. It plays just about every freaking thing you can think of. And it's actually gotten a lot better throughout the different revisions. It wasn't until like the 1.73 revision that they finally made it actually like stable to where, like, it used to crash if you looked at it funny. Let's see. What does it go up to? Just about anything you can think of. Let's see. Super. Probably passed it already. I am, because I don't remember my alphabet. No, let's see here. I'm thinking wrong way, so it's out of the U's. Just about. Not quite. Actually, you can actually load this into your Xbox One. There we go. This is where I need to be. All the way through the list. But yeah, they actually have RetroArch. I think they have it so you can actually port it onto your Xbox, so you could actually play, use this to play emulators on your Xbox One or your original Xbox. It's crazy. I mean, you can port this to just about every single thing. Yeah, it'd be cool if you can do PC on this, but I mean, it does just about everything. I mean, I have this loaded up to do like PlayStation, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, GameCube, Wii, Super Nintendo, Nintendo, TurboGrafx 16, Sega Genesis, 3DO. I mean, it's like every single thing you can think of. By the way, if you want to set this up on your computer, I have everything you need. I think except for the latest download file, I think, for the thing itself. Let me take a look real quick. There we go, RetroArch 1.76. So you just basically just want to download the latest version from retroarch.com. But if you're wanting to, you can actually follow this link here. I'm going to post in a second. follow the guide I have in there, and it will just basically copy link. Here we go. You should be able to download from here. It has like a walkthrough guide that I wrote about. So follow the guide in there. It'll walk you through how to set up RetroArch on your computer. Just download the latest one from retroarch.com. I think it is the site. So you get the 177 that I use right now. And it also contains the files there in that G Drive folder that I just shared to basically run everything. We're talking, like I said, if you follow the steps I have, and I've had people follow this before and report back to me that yes, it's working in full. It has all the BIOSes you need for PlayStation, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, 3DO, GameCube, Wii. It has all that stuff I've found already and put in there. Enemy Paradise should work. Like I said, you just need to follow the directions in full on that webpage, and it will get you working, because it all works for everybody else who I've sent to and tried it. But for now, let's run some Street Fighter 2. Enough of looking at the RetroArch screen. Let's see. Go and run SNES 9X. Probably gonna be a little too loud at first. We're gonna start with the old classic. Street Fighter 2 in slow motion. Oh yeah, Big Dano. I was actually in an arcade. I was living in San Antonio at the time. And it was like they had like it was like a batting cages, mini golf type place that they had, you know, like was all in one places. And then an arcade, which was like air conditioned. And I'm a ginger, so it's like me and sunlight is like putting a fork in a microwave. It just get a lot of sparks and pain. So I was staying inside the arcade with my brother, and they come wheeling in, like this truck backs up, and they wheel Street Fighter 2 out of like the truck and set up, because it was like the day it first came out, and I was like the first person to play it in that location. And I can't remember I was there. I think it was like in the middle of a school day, like we had taken off for some stupid reason. My mom was just like, let's go do batting cages and stuff. I'm like, hell yeah. So let's see, I'm gonna make sure this works. Yes, it does. So my mind was completely blown away by this game, because arcade games at the time had 1, 2, maybe 3 buttons, and suddenly I'm looking at 6 buttons. 3 for punches, 3 for kicks. I'm like, what in the world is this? Because I also remember playing the original Street Fighter arcade machine, which is Ken and Ryu, and it was like the 2 pads you had to hit. So it was like the one you had to like slam it really hard on the punch button or to get like a fierce punch, or really tap it light to get a jab. It was that monstrosity. So I'm like, wow, cool, they made a sequel to this. So I put a quarter in, and all of a sudden I'm looking at 8 characters to select. I'm like, my mind is blown again, because arcade games, fighting games at the time, were usually like 1 or 2 characters, and all of a sudden you had 8. I mean, this was like a huge... It's really like, people don't understand it unless you live through it. Like, this was a huge game changer. It really was. And I didn't own a Super Nintendo, so sadly when this port came out, I was still playing the arcade version like a sucker. Said no one ever. Oh yeah, so basically, like, I grew up in the Air Force, so that's why we're down in San Antonio. We're stationed at Lackland at the time.
Round 1, fight.
And I still want this arcade machine. Oh man, this is so slow. No air moves. He doesn't have his flaming Dragon Punch yet. Yeah, this game just runs so slow by modern Street Fighter standards. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but this was like I said, this was a cultural change, and basically it set the mold for for fighting games to come.
Round 2, fight.
Oh yeah, Samurai Showdown was the other big one. That was like pretty big at the time too. I remember when that came out in the arcades, people were all about it. But actually, I think like the first Neo Geo like fighting game I played was Fatal Fury, because the bowling alley that they had on base actually had Fatal. They had 2 Neo Geo machines, which is kind of weird. Instead of just having like a 2-slot or 4-slot MVS game, like they had like just 2 1-slot machines. Yeah, I'll hit you up with that in a second here. So let's see. Pause toggle. There we go. Yeah. So basically, like they had 2 Neo Geo machines. One of them had Fatal Fury on it, and the other one had World Heroes, the very first one. So that was like the big thing there. So I actually played Fatal Fury the first time. That was my first fighting game, and then I played Art of Fighting. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like a Street Fighter ripoff, kind of like with Ryo and things like that. It was like also like when I actually own right now. I own a Neo Geo MVS 2-slot arcade machine, the Big Red. And when I bought it like about 5 or 6 years ago, I had to explain to my younger brother what an arcade machine was, and you know why it was such a big deal from my childhood. Because I was 10 when the Neo Geo came out, and I was like, I want to buy this. Like I gotta have this thing. And then like 25 years later, I went, hey, I'm an adult. I can buy one. So I had to explain to him like home arcade, like home games were not as advanced as what they are now, or even at the time. So we had to go and pay money to play the good games, 25 cents each. The bigger ones, I mean, then you had to, you know, like pay like 50 cents and more as time went on. But yeah, you had to go to a mall or someplace where they had them. You had to pay 25 cents at least to play. If your friends wanted to play, that was more money into it. You get a game over, you gotta put money in. He's like, oh my god. It's like, yeah. So I fired up Metal Slug, the original one for him. And I put in like, because I have like, it's my own arcade machine, so I can just put in how many credits I want, and so I don't have to actually put quarters into it. So I put in like 20 credits for him. And like he gets halfway through him, he's like, oh my god, this thing is like a quarter muncher, it just steals your money. I'm like, yeah, that was the point of arcade machines. It's like, yeah, it'd be really good to get past them and beat them, and they wanted you to lose your money. You know, that was the whole thing. It's like just a generational difference, you know? Really? Oh, Magic Pixel, you stink. I remember back in the arcades, before Championship Edition came out, and that was another huge leap. It was like always the race to see who could pick Chun-Li first if you play 2-player. Because Chun-Li, like, it turns out like the machine I was playing on later on, like when the Super Nintendo came out, they had like a youth center on the base there, and they actually had Street Fighter 2 in there, so I got really good at the machine there, and that's how I got really good at the game in general. Which you can't tell now by watching me play this. But Chun-Li, turns out, was like one of the first revisions of the machine that they had, where she had a forward flip kick that they would later give back to her in Turbo, I think it was. Like, you hit forward and roundhouse, she would do like this. That was supposed to dizzy you. She would do like this front walk kick and then like flip backwards. And they took that out of later revisions, like balancing the original game. Why are you still alive? Oh, variable damage. So that was kind of cool, and then I played like Super Nintendo version, and then I found another arcade machine that had been updated with like the newer version of it, and they took that out. I'm like, whoa, because I mean that was, you could cross people up with that like nobody's business. And to think that combos were also bugs in the system. Like, they didn't program it in to have combos at first. It was an accident. And they actually debated, like, should we take out the ability to link moves together to form combos? And they tried that for a while, the developers, and like, it's not as fun, let's put them back in.
Round 1, fight!
Nah, what I was looking for. Are you using, like, Chrome or are you using Firefox?
Round 2, fight!
And more importantly, after you try it there, are you doing the bottom step where it says after you install, click here? Yeah, try Chrome if you have Chrome. I use Chrome and it works just fine. Chrome works with everything. You know, Firefox they may have updated, but it still works with Chrome, so I would give that a shot. I know you hate Chrome, but trust me, bite the bullet for this just one thing. I used to actually like Firefox a lot, and then they just made it so it destroys RAM. It just ate everything up. I have 32 gigs on my machine, and it would use up 30 of it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. They since fixed it, but then I switched to Chrome and have been pretty much using that. But I still use Firefox for other things, like torrent sites and so forth that I need. Just random things like to test out as well, like that may not work well on Chrome, I'll use Firefox for, but just use it this way. Trust me, it'll be worth it. What's up, Nimix? What'd you get? Bing, 1, that's it. You ain't that special. Oh, that... Never liked Guile. One of those reasons, just like that. Also, he's a defensive player. I like rushdowns better. I take it you found 5 frames? Woo! Well, it's better than 1. I mean, you're only getting 1 frame for a while. Oh, it doesn't want to do fire. Doesn't want to do hurricane kicks. Oh, dallied around. Not used to these bonus rounds. Really? Yeah. Well, 10 gigs of RAM for a browser is ridiculous. Chrome should take up. I think it takes them around 3 now if I have that many tabs open. But yeah, Firefox would just. It literally would like almost crash my system. It'd use up all the RAM, and I have 32 gigs in my system. I was like, okay, this is beginning to be a problem. Like I said, they fixed it now since then, but it was a problem at the start. Well, your task is gonna look funky. I mean, tasks always do. It's always, you know, superhuman speed usually. Crazy stuff going on. I can only imagine what's gonna happen with yours. To stand up. Oh, I was trying to get him to stand up into it. I've heard people say like, hey, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, that's like the best one. That game is completely 100% busted. Every version of it is broken. From Super Nintendo to arcade is completely broken. And the reason why I mean that is the difficulty does not work. Difficulty is always set on 8. No matter what you do, you change it down to 1, it's still set on 8. It is permanently set on the highest difficulty reading, like setting, and will input read you on the beginning level. and never got fixed in the home ports. It was like that in the arcade, but people didn't notice it because they played each other. So if you fire up Street Fighter 2 Turbo and you get your butt kicked, that's the reason why. Even when it got ported to the Xbox 360, it was still busted. Okay, you should be dizzy.
Round 3, fight!
Oh, that move moves you forward. Forgot about that. You know what? I miss these screens. They don't exist anymore, like the losing screens, like where you just beat the hell out of you. You know, like you're all beat up, you're bloody. Remember, this is a Super Nintendo as well. They censored blood and everything else back then on these systems. But like Street Fighter in general, they stopped doing this with Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. They got rid of the you lost screen. Just now it's like your opponent like quoting something at you, and that's it.
Round 1, fight!
Well, actually, it wasn't Japan. It was actually Nintendo of America that was censoring games. That was the big thing. It's like, because at the time Nintendo was like, well, we got to be the family-friendly company, and we can't have violence or anything like that. So they intentionally removed like any type of nudity or swearing, religious items from their games, and now they're known as like the company that doesn't censor anything anymore. I know it's very ironic, like how times have changed. I mean, there was the famous quote by Howard Lincoln, who was the attorney for Nintendo at the time, who said, "Night Trap will never be on a Nintendo system," and now you can buy Night Trap for the Nintendo Switch. It's like how times have changed. Night Trap! Oh. Night Trap, if you're not familiar with it, was a video game from the early 90s, I think 91, 92, and it was a full motion video game. So it had live actors, which is a huge thing back in the day, and they're like vampires. You have to protect these girls on a sleepover from being caught by the vampires. It's ridiculously hard. I'm actually not a fan of the game, but it got pulled in front of the Senate for video game violence hearings because they're like, oh, these games were too violent. They showed like a game over screen where one of the girls got grabbed by the bad guys and dragged off, and they're like, this is too violent, and they showed like literally nothing. Like there was like no blood, nothing. And yeah, it made this big stink, and Nintendo was going basically dragged Sega into it because they were the major competitors at the time. They're like, well, Sega has this trash that's corrupting our youth, and you'll never see Night Trap or anything this violent on our systems. And this is back when they had censored Mortal Kombat. It did not have blood in the Super Nintendo version. And they quickly learned their lesson because the Genesis version outsold the Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 5-1. So Mortal Kombat 2 comes out, it has blood. Oh my gosh, he's got me trapped. Oh, cheap. So yeah, times have definitely changed, but Howard Lincoln was like, oh, Night Trap will never appear on a Nintendo system, and it did. And the ESRB actually got formed, the ratings board, because of those Senate hearings. Even funnier, Mike Tyson just recently found out about Balrog. He had no idea about this character in Street Fighter at all. And like, because originally they changed his name. His name was supposed to be M. Bison. It was supposed to be Balrog's name in the American version. Like, the American version, Japan it is, but America they changed it around because they thought Mike Tyson would sue him. And he just found out about like 2 weeks ago, and he thinks it's the most awesome thing ever. He's like, no, I'm not mad. He's like, this is great. Well, Super Nintendo version didn't have blood at all. And the code most people talk about is actually for the Game Genie, where it just changed the sweat color from like gray to red. That's all it was. There wasn't like any actual blood in the game at all, the programming. But the Genesis version, you still had to enter the code, which was actually like referenced in the beginning opening scroll. Oh no. By the way, Vega's music in stage, still hands down my favorite. The music for this is epic. The 3DO version is amazing.
Round 2, fight!
It's like, I wish they'd bring back stages like this, you know? That'd be good. That'd be cool.
Round 3, fight!
I think it's also where the game starts to majorly input read, too. Yeah, this is a street fighting competition. Why do you have blades on your hands, sir? I'm concerned. Hold on a second. Give me one moment here. Alright, sorry about that. Here we go. And unpause.
Round 1, fight!
Back before Chun-Li had fireballs. Oh, that takes priority. How nice. His hitbox is better than mine.
Round 2, fight!
Oh, he's afraid now. Oh, threw me out of the lightning kicks. Yeah, but like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo for the 3DO has amazing music for this game. I need to figure out how to rip the soundtrack for it. Oh yeah, Vega is complete and total garbage. It's like I said, this is where the game just like really you start hitting the wall. I mean, you can. It's easy to get up to this point, but then the game just starts full on like input reading and like, oh, you're throwing this at it. Well, I'm gonna beat out something that's even better than yours. That's not supposed to hang around there that long either, by the way. I think I have him beat. Yep, got him. Oh, timer scam, you gotta love it. Sagat is kind of funny. If you're used to seeing like the muscled up steroid version of Sagat, wasn't always the case. By the way, the E Honda and Chun-Li at these stages were the best. Yeah, like, oh, that's just so hard. Everybody else is a little more of a challenge, but E Honda and Chun-Li have just those spam moves you can just abuse the hell out of. I give you anorexic-looking Sagat. He's still buff, but he's not nearly the steroid monster he is now. And then like Street Fighter Alpha came out and just made him like a huge, like 7-foot tall roid guy. Oh, I'm dizzy. Yeah, see, it's just like nothing but fireballs. Sagat, by the way, if you've never played the first Street Fighter game, which was really, really different, was actually the original final boss of that game. Adon was his apprentice, like, so he was like the second, like he was the first boss he fought, and then Sagat was the final boss.
Round one, fight!
And I'm dizzy because you can take 2 fierce fireballs to the face, you get dizzy. Also, in this version of the game, like just Street Fighter 2 in general, you can have inputs just get eaten because everything slows down when you land a hit.
Round two, fight!
Should have did the cannon finish, you know, just Dragon Punch him, but I want to make sure he was dead. I have to say, I like this version of the Hurricane Kick versus what happened like Street Fighter 4 and 5. It just looks too weird. It's like this version just looks fast and deadly and dangerous. You're whipping around at high speeds, beating up on a man who's obviously visually impaired. And then it's just like, we're gonna make you just like slowly twirl around the air with your foot hanging out.
Round one.
This guy was the classic jerk. Yeah, all these moves he does, by the way, turned out to be charging moves, so you have to charge them for at least 2 seconds, like hold back or down for 2 seconds, then forward, but since it's the computer, it can just fire them off rapid fire. Yeah, like that. That's not supposed to be possible at all by a human player. M. Bison would also later go on to have massive steroid abuse in his career. Let's see.
Round 1, fight! Sonic boom!
Oh, he beat out this. He's beating out the Sonic Boom. That's crazy. But, yeah, it's a Daisy. Gotta love it.
Round 2, fight!
Yes, who would have figured out? But the ultimate one, I'm trying to remember what the game it was, but is you fight the final guy is known as the Colonel, and he's like the world's like most impossible boss. And it's like, they actually had to release an updated version of the game to make it easier to beat the final boss, and it was still ridiculously hard. I'm really trying to remember what the game was called. Let's see. Maybe it was the General. Kaiser Knuckle, that was the game. Oh my god. Yeah, that is like legitimate the hardest fighting game boss ever in existence. They had to put out an update patch to make him easier to beat, and it was still just incredibly brutal. Alright, so let's move on to a different Super Nintendo game. We've all seen Street Fighter 2, we know how it ends. If you don't know, then I'm sorry. You must be young. But there is YouTube, and YouTube is always there for you. Alright, so let's see. Super Nintendo. I'm going to play the translated version, so let's see. Translations. English. No, it begins with S. Shinseki, I think it is. Shinkiro. Here we go. So I actually own this actual cart, which is great. And it looks like Retro Arches. There we go. It's like, come back to me, buddy. You can do it. I believe in you. Menu toggle. Let me make sure that my latency run ahead is on. It is. Good. Okay, quick menu. Resume. I call out everybody. It's just a matter of time, my friend. So I'm basically playing the translated English version. Like I said, I actually own this cart Japanese version, and it is not in English, but I figured let's try English translation instead. Pardon me. Gotta hit the start button on these things. Forgot about that. Pretty much. My parents will die before your parents. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is a nice strobe. Weak punch. Oh, it's a 4-button fighter. That's right. Okay, cool. It's been a while since I played this, but man, it is good. So, Gundam Wing, if you've never seen it, is completely, absolutely bonkers. It is... The story was just all over the place, but it was a lot of fun. But they made a fighting game in Japan and never released it in the States, which is so sad. Because actually, the reason why is, like, I don't think it got translated, Gundam Wing got translated until, like, around 99, 2000? If not later than that. So, most people wouldn't even have a clue what the hell this was if they had brought it over. Oh, so there's no practice mode. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's that. I think my buttons are messed up. So I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, dive kick is 2 buttons, dive and kick. Alright, how do I exit out of here? I can't, I'm stuck forever. Well, you know what that means. Restart. And reset. Yes, dive kick, the one true fighting game. I actually played dive kick once on stream and like everybody just jumped ship. Like it was like, oh, you're playing Street Fighter 2. I'm like, yeah, let's play another game, dive kick, and like everyone just abandoned ship. I was like, wow, okay, cool. Nobody likes dive kick. Weak punch, yes. Strong punch. It's... Ah, okay. Weapons are on the bottom. I think I used to change them. Yeah. That's what it was. Pretty much. Death Scythe, best character. Churro, what's your special? I have guns, bullets, lots of bullets. What happens if you run out of bullets? I'm kind of screwed. Ah, okay, cool. That's good to know. Oh, no! There's off the grounds, there's special moves, dashes. You can have all sorts of fun with this game. It's like, wait a minute, we're on the same team, why are we fighting each other? Huh? Well, there was actually, Evo did actually have dive kick. It wasn't in a main tournament, but it was just like one of those like fighting game things they just did for fun when it came out. I think I can link that. Nope, can't link it. Well, I think everybody's had an epilepsy test. Yeah, alright. Why are you quoting Ace of Base lyrics at me? Yeah, alright, it's a beautiful life. Yeah, okay, great. Good, you're an Ace of Base fan. Glad to see it. Zero, why? Oh, it didn't catch him. Oh, cage through a dash. Yes, you do both your weapons together, you can actually like do a straightforward dash, you can do upward air dash, make it more mobile. Catch people off guard. I forgot how to use my guns. A little bit of input reading there. There we go. I think Epion's in this too, but you have to do a code. Hey, that was fun. Want to do it again? It's like, as his like mech explodes, killing him. As I said, I know it's a fighting game, so you have to have people to fight, but it's like you're fighting all your friends who are on the same side as you. Story-wise, at least. That's pretty much Gundam Wing in a nutshell. Who needs coherent story? You have giant robots shooting each other, because that means, like, enemies become friends, become enemies, become secret brother and sister, then secret lovers, but they didn't know about that at first, the whole brother and sister thing, and no, it gets really ridiculously complicated, but nothing like that, but yeah, it's like literally, I'm gonna protect you, and that's like, I've decided to change sides to the bad guys. Why? Because I could. Yeah, it's like good guys become good guys again, and the bad guy actually becomes the hero at the end, and it's just like, what is going on? It was a fun show, though. I mean, it was just absolutely, completely bonkers. Okay, so I can link that move. Okay, I did the gun move. I don't remember how. I don't know how I did it. Well, the best part of Gundam Wing was, like, the guy who has, like, Wing Zero, who's, like, his name is Hero, he's, like, the main character, meets up with the bad guy, and he's like, you know what, we should trade mechs for a while, and they do, and they trade machines. So he starts using the bad guy's machine, and the bad guy starts using his machine. It's like, what? But it happened, and that was, like, for a couple episodes. Wow, that one just hits forever. And then the bad guy turned out to not be a bad guy and just misunderstood, and Hero's got this annoying girlfriend who's kind of not really his girlfriend, but still a love interest. And she's like a pacifist. She's like, oh no, we can't go to war. War is evil and people die. And like, it's annoying because like people are sent to assassinate her constantly. And she's like, no, nobody should fight. Come on, guys, be nice to each other. And it's like, at the end, she finally, like, realizes, okay, sometimes you have to kill people who are trying to murder you. It's like, finally. It's like episode 48 out of 50, she's like, yeah, sometimes you have to go to war and beat people up because just trying to be nice to them isn't going to happen. It's like, thank you. You've been an annoying idiot for 48 episodes until now. Wu Fei, aka Shenlong, the guy I'm fighting, in the show, he becomes a bad guy for a while just because he was bored. He's like, why are you doing this? He's like, well, I just wanted to see what the other side's like. Why does that not connect? No! Yes, like, how's this hurting a robot? Don't think too hard. Come on, give me my Dragon Punch. There we go. Come on. Oh, crap, missed it. Cower in fear. Okay. Yay, tall geese. That was like Zex is the bad guy who switches with Hero, his machine. He's like, hey, I got this really cool machine. Want to trade? Okay, cool. And just take each other's mechs for like 4 episodes. The show is just... There's no way to like explain the storyline for Gundam Wing and sound somewhat sane. You end up sounding like a paranoid schizophrenic by the end. Finally nailed him with it. Boot to the face. Oh, okay. That was nice. And nope, didn't come out. There we go. Yeah, I still don't know how I'm doing the gun. I forgot how to do it. I'm still pulling off occasionally. Oh no, I DI'd. Did you learn anything from the battle? I'm sorry, I can't respond. My brain's hemorrhaging. Because this is how this game works. It is... See, fighting games now are all about balance, which is rather boring, but I mean, in these old games, they were unbalanced in nobody's business, so... You can just have one just totally overpowered character just wreck everything. Ah, yes. She was absolutely insane in the show, because it seemed like she had like a twin, but it turned out to be that she just had like split personality, and it was like a Fight Club situation. So one moment she'd be this total warmonger, the other part she was like peace, like loving activist, pacifist person. It's like Lydia was just, she needed mental help. Much like Evangelion is like the show about mental illness, Gundam Wing is kind of the robot version of that, even more so. But yeah, okay, so let's pick another game. Oh, I know, we're gonna play the best, absolute best fighting game ever. You think Dive Kick is the best game ever for fighting games? You are mistaken. We are going to play the one true game that everyone bought like crazy, and it was widely revered as a game indeed. Everyone's like, oh, Ranma? No, 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 no. Street Fighter? Not even close. Rise of the Robots. Oh, yes. The true Super Nintendo classic. It has music by, trying to remember his name. One of the guys from Queen. Brian May, there we go. Yeah. So you're going to hear this quite often. It's like a 4-second music loop that he did on guitar. It was like, we need to keep using this music as long as we can. That's the music track by Brian May. They paid a lot of money for. So yeah, this game was advertised like crazy everywhere. It's gonna be this really super in-depth fighting game and have all these special moves, and it's total garbage. And a lot of people bought it based on the hype, so they made a second game. Oh. Now, the crazy thing is this game actually is a little bit better on the 3DO, which is really, really kind of wild to think. Weak points, speed, no tactical abilities. It doesn't matter, it's still going to probably stomp me into the ground. Look out, it's slowly lumbering at me. Oh yes. Ooh, I figured out how to pull off a move. So basically, like Street Fighter games, you like hit the input, and like you finish like fireball forward, like down, down, forward, forward, and then punch at the same time. In this game, you do the movement, then you hit the button afterwards. So it'd be like charging back, forward, then kick, and then you'll pull out the special move or punch. Like, one of the YouTubers I watch, I talk about, like, forgotten mistakes in the past, something bound to happen again, is also, like just needlessly backing or supporting things that are garbage just because, like, well, we need to support the company. And there's a YouTuber by the name Sega Lord X, and he's got some pretty decent content, but I kind of disagreed with him in the last video. He was talking about, like, Sega ports. Like, hey, Panzer Dragoon's getting a Sega Saturn, not a Sega Saturn, a Nintendo Switch release and things like that. He's like, well, we gotta support him. Like, no matter what, we gotta buy these games to show him how much we love him. It's like, no. Because if you keep buying crap, they're gonna keep making crap because you're thinking it's popular and people bought it like crazy. That's how you end up with the at-games clone crap systems. It's T. Wallace with 4 bits. I feel special. Thank you very much. Good to see you. So now you're number 1. Can anybody beat 4 bits? Do I hear 5 bits? At 10,000 bits, I will reveal what my voice sounds like. I mean, no one knows what I sound like right now, because this is a very advanced text-to-speech program that makes me sound like a squeaky dork. Now, the modern Call of Duty's not too bad. I mean, if you want to play some, like, real turds, Ghost, Call of Duty, like, Ghost is bad. I didn't like that one whatsoever. What was the other one? Modern Warfare 3, not that great. Black Ops series is kind of crap, so there are some good ones, but there are some really, really bad ones, in my opinion. Well, you gotta remember, T. Wallace, keep it in the bag in your car. I was a human? By the way, there's no continues in this wonderful game. You get to do it all over again. So I think there is a way to cheese this guy. I think if you just like keep walking forward and hitting kick, I think you can just like keep cheesing it like all the way to the final boss. It's pretty crazy because this game is just so busted. Yeah, I actually like the single player games of Call of Duty. I'm not really a big fan of multiplayer. Okay, there's my kick. Turbo button, here we go. Yes, this is how you play Rise of the Robots. It is just like this. I don't know if you do or not, because I just use everything on browser. Like I use, desktop, so... And I have ad blocks, so I never see anything like that anyway, so I don't know what to tell you. I don't think they do that anymore. Because people kind of realize, wait a minute, watching a 30-second ad for 1 bit is kind of crazy to do. It's like for online Call of Duty games, 4 was a lot of fun. I mean, they really changed up the formula. And then I kind of went into Battlefield. Mostly because I understand how bullet drop works, because I know how to shoot long distance in real life with sniper rifles. So I enjoy the Battlefield series a lot as a sniper because it's like, oh, I actually know how to calculate for bullet drop for this distance. So it's like, at the start, like, I would just wreck everybody. Like, when Bad Company 2 came out, that was a game that really kind of changed around the multiplayer landscape for Battlefield a lot. So I had a lot of fun with that game, played a hell out of that. Battlefield 4, because I had, bought that with my PlayStation 4 as a launch game. So I actually got it on launch day itself. Call of Duty Team Fortress 2 was crazy because I actually remember playing the original version of that, which was a Quake mod. I was over at my friend Patrick's house. We're like, what's TF? You know, because it was just called Team Fortress at the time. It wasn't Team Fortress 2. And I'm like, I don't know. Let's download it. And we're playing. This was the dial-up days of the internet, by the way. So we had to like let it sit for like an hour and a half. We just like watched a movie or played some other video games. And I came back and I'm like, pick a class. It's like, do you want to be a sniper or medic or anything? I'm like, what is this? So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was originally a Quake mod, and then Valve got involved and put it on their Half-Life 2 engine. Then Half-Life 2, or not Half-Life 2, but then Team Fortress 2 came out. And that game has dramatically changed from what it originally was, which was that original kind of Quake ports, to whatever nonsense it is now. Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone's gonna have nostalgia for different things. You know, like I have nostalgia for Super Nintendo games because that's the things I played at the time. Everyone's gonna have something like that. And for you, it's the Call of Duty series. And I know for my younger brother, it probably still is Call of Duty. Like I said, my younger brother I had to explain arcade machines to is 15 years younger than me. So, I mean, and he grew up playing Call of Duty 4. Actually, his first one was actually Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360, and then 4 when that came out. So let's see. Excuse me. Ranma. Well, actually, the new one, which is like Modern Warfare, which because I hate it when game companies do this, they're like, okay, we're gonna make a fourth God of War game. What do we call it? God of War. We already have a game like that. Well, too bad we shipped it out. It's now called God of War. But it's like, okay, so the Modern Warfare, which is like redoing number 4, actually looks, in my opinion, pretty darn good. It's like they're taking like the best parts of 4, like a Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, and kind of blending them together because they're bringing back Juggernaut, the Winchester 1887. You have new things about peeking out around the corners, and it's just like you're kind of taking like all these things and putting them back into one. It actually looks really good. I'm really excited for that one. Yeah, exactly. It's like it just you look at the gameplay of it, and it's just like you can tell it's like this game is like literally Modern Warfare, like Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2 just smashed together. Power attack, jump, normal attack. This game, I remember you actually have to do jump. That's right, jump is a button in this game. It's so weird. Up needs to be jump. Okay, so let's see. I think I have this Y is normal attack. X is going to be power attack. And we'll make B block. This game gets a little funky with its controls. That should hopefully do. Respawn? Respawn Entertainment? Yes. This game confused so many people. I actually used to own this game, and unfortunately I sold it off. They turned up the audio a little bit. So, Ranma at the time, like early 90s, hadn't really hit a lot of like American places. So like not a lot of people knew about Ranma unless you were like a really hardcore anime fan, which I knew about Ranma because I was that dork, but a lot of people were like, well, who is this guy? What's going on? Why is he taunting me that I won't be fighting him this time? And it's just like, who are these people? But yeah, it goes all over the place. Let's see. Ranma, if he gets hit with cold water, he turns into a girl. Because he fell into a cursed stream. Okay, skip the story because nobody cares. Don't hit me, bro! And I have no idea what my moves are. Alright, we're off to a good start. Because you probably have, it's actually like the third game. It's actually like really popular and got, it's been in like fighting game tournaments and stuff like that. There was actually a big one in Japan not too long ago. They actually had like everybody like playing this game on Super Nintendo. It was kind of funny to see. That, like Super Nintendo games are kind of coming back for fighting games. The Sailor Moon fighting game actually was at EVO, which is like completely busted. We're talking about like unbalanced things. Oh, Ranma? Probably, because I mean this was the show that set it up. You know, this was the show that started like the whole thing about like, well, we're gonna do gender swap and it's a comedy, and they did air it on Toonami later on. I don't know if it's still being in rotation or not.
I won!
Oh, them's fighting words with me, T. Wallace. Considering I own almost all those Super Nintendo games for Sailor Moon, I have the complete series in English and Japanese. It's a lot of fun. Sailor Moon Crystal got a lot better. Because they decided, like, hey, all that, like, American, like, the other previous stuff we did with all this filler, let's just get rid of it and actually follow the manga so it actually moves faster, it makes sense, it is a lot better, and it is a lot better. I also got rid of the whole creepy thing about 13-year-old girl dating a 27-year-old guy. And everyone being okay with it. Cowboy Bebop is good. Cowboy Bebop is a classic. Even for the time, it was really good. Oh no, I'm beating up my future wife. Why? Oh no, I must endure makeup test madness. No. I think I have the third game. Let's try to see if I can find that real quick. Should have it. Supposed to have a complete set, so let's see. No, that's a tile game. Junkin is like rock, paper, scissors. I think this is the RPG. This is just the wrong artwork for it. I think this is the game. No, this is the second game. I think? Yeah, this is the second game they put out. Fighting my father! No! Father! Why? Yeah! So, the new Dragon Ball fighting game. It's different. I'm not really a fan of it because like it's a mental quirk for me. Because if you have any game where you start hitting the same button and you start getting punches, then kicks, and all sorts of weird stuff out of it, it blows my mind. Like I still don't know how to like handle games like that. So that's what the one thing that throws me off. So like you can hit like light punch or light attack twice, and you might get kicks out of it. There you might get punches. It's one of those things you just gotta kind of mentally adapt to. For me, like if I hit the punch button and like if I hit attack, I'm expecting to have a single attack come out, so I know what's gonna happen. So I can anticipate what I need to do next. It's just like the inner Street Fighter in me. And Dragon Ball FighterZ doesn't really have that at all. So it's kind of like you really gotta mentally adjust to it. But it's pretty simple to learn. My only biggest complaint with it is that you don't have like a push block. So if somebody's like really pushing, like really like pressuring you, like you're just blocking everything constantly, you can't hit punch or the attack buttons to like push them back like you can in other games like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom or even X-Men vs. Street Fighter. You could do things like that. It doesn't exist in that game. It also does have auto combos, so you can just keep tapping like your attack button, your light attack button constantly, and you'll just throw out like a 7-8 hit combo. But it's not gonna be as powerful as one you can do like by yourself. So it's not too bad. I mean, if you buy it on Steam, you can always try it for under 2 hours, see if you like it or not. But I mean, then of course it's kind of a big download. Let's see, where was I going? I'm trying to think. A lot of games for the Super Nintendo that started with the word super. Sufami Turbo, I actually own one of these. This was kind of a neat little add-on. You could buy like additional little games to plug in. Did Star Wars ever make a fighting game? Yes, they did. It's called Terras Kasi for the original PlayStation, and it's not good. Here we go. Street Fighter 0. Nope, Street Fighter Alpha 2. There are any games called Super Super? No, and that is a missed opportunity. But this is another wonderful, fun game that I actually own for the Super Nintendo. Got it for Christmas that year. And this is like, and people like kind of crap on this version now. Like, it's not arcade perfect. Well, no kidding, it's not arcade perfect. But the fact is that they got this running on a Super Nintendo is freaking amazing. This game should not be able to play on a Super Nintendo at all, and they crammed it into it. I mean, they had to use MIDI soundtrack, as you can clearly hear. Sound is going to be muffled, and it runs at 30 frames versus 60 frames, but still, it's like the fact that you could get this on the Super Nintendo is incredible, because this was also released for, at the same time, for PlayStation and the Sega Saturn. You know, and those versions, like Sega Saturn version is the best version overall, but I mean, the fact that this is working on a Super Nintendo at the time was still pretty crazy. So my brother and I just played the hell out of this game for a long, long time, because we didn't have a PlayStation or Saturn for a while. I didn't buy a PlayStation until Metal Gear Solid came out, because that was the only one that made me go, yes, I need to get this system now. Great. Okay. Yeah, it's like they're like, well, it's not arcade perfect. You can get better versions. Yes, you can, but the fact is that you could still play this on a Super Nintendo is a technical marvel. They had to put a special chip in which actually decrypted, like, because everything is like super compressed to be on here. They had to basically like unencrypt it on the fly. So when you start off a round, it's kind of funny. It's like you have like round 1, fight, and you pause for like 2 seconds. Then the match starts up. This is like, it's quickly trying to like get everything going as fast as it can. It has all the characters. It even has the secret stage to show them to start. So Adon was my jam. I don't think it has reflections. I can't remember if this has reflections or not. I don't think it will. Nope, no character reflections, which would have been surprising. But here's that pause we're talking about. Well, Adon was actually originally one of the first bosses in Street Fighter. He was like the first boss you fought, and then after that you would fight Sagat. Oh, alpha counters, that's a thing in this game. Just like that. some room. Yeah, this version of Adon was my favorite. Like, Adon and Gen were actually like some of my big mains in this game. Let's see. Adon, Gen, Rolento. Those were like the big ones for me. Yeah, Balrog was not really... I'm never really a fan of him, of his character. Again, I like because you can switch those styles, like you can go to Crane to Mantis. You also have custom combos, I can't remember how to do that though. Well, Gen was the closest you're going to get for, like, Kung Fu Master for this series. But yeah, there's no, you know, Virtual Fighter 2. What was it? Shun-Di? I think it was the guy's name. The drunken fighter. My legend starts now! Okay. So, like, you can literally see the loading. This is exactly what it's like on Super Nintendo. Uh-oh. Let's see. 2. Some combo. So it says 2 punches or 2 kicks pressed together. That's not it. Let's figure out how to do this here. Reading. And you tell me nothing, you suck. Okay. Street Fighter Alpha 2, SNES. Custom combos. Oh boy, here we go. Game facts. The one thing in the world I would burn down. Okay, so it's 2 punches and a kick, or 2 kicks and a punch should trigger it. We'll find out. This is Game Facts. They are known to lie their butt off because nothing was ever verified. Yep, it works. No, it's not the tiny text. It's basically that there's like no verification method, so like everything is just... I mean, it's just so full of like crap and like incorrect information because you didn't have to like verify anything. It's like you can just have... You'll go in there and find cheat codes or moves that do not exist. It's just... It's a total garbage fire of a website, and it's been like that for 20 years. Really? Well, the thing is with Wikipedia, people can edit it. GameFAQs, you can't. You post it up there, it's there, too bad, so sad. I mean, like, it's up there. I mean, so you have incorrect information up there for years and years and years. If you want to navigate a true trash fire, try using GameFAQs to like learn about an obscure game like Street Fighter, the movie arcade version that I played on stream before. You try to pull up a move list for that game, you're gonna get like at least 20 different guides, all with different moves in them, and like none of them work. Some of them may work, like Fireball, because you're gonna get that right occasionally, but then you're gonna have like, oh, special saddle moves, and that doesn't work.
Round one, fight!
Uh-oh. Crap. Anti-air! Another thing I also like about Adon is that he hits like a truck. His normals are basically almost the same strength as like special moves. So he doesn't have a whole lot in the way of like special moves at all, but he just makes up for it in pure power. Like how the game just spams range attacks. That's pretty much every Street Fighter. Certain characters are just going to spam stuff, and then other ones are going to get in close and personal. But Street Fighter Alpha 2 is one of my favorites, like hands down, of the Street Fighter series. This and Third Strike are like my top tier. That being said, I still want to own a straight vanilla Street Fighter 2 arcade machine. Not a championship edition, not anything else. Straight Street Fighter 2. Rolento, my other main. This guy is an anti-air nightmare. High mobility. Good keep away. He's fast. Combos easily. Oh, right over top. Good job, me. Yep, actually I started off the stream playing Street Fighter 2, Super Nintendo. Got all the way to M. Bison, and then kind of showed how insane the game gets when you get that far. Well, Rolento has a stick. He was actually a boss in Final Fight. That's where you first see him. And you got Vega, who has a claw. He also has knives and grenades, too, so... He's got a baton. This guy is, like, fully armed for... too armed for a street fight. Does this game have Dan in it? Yes, it does. Street Fighter Alpha, the very first one, which did not come out on Super Nintendo, which I was kind of surprised, which is why Alpha 2 showed up and took me even more by surprise, was where they first introduced Dan, who was basically a ripoff of Yo from Art of Fighting. Just basically like, yeah, we're gonna have like the weakest character ever. We're gonna have a guy who looks just like Ryo, but he's gonna be wearing a pink gi, and he's gonna have a weak fireball because Art of Fighting, you had a spirit gauge, so if you kept spamming fireball, you'd have to like charge it back up, or else your fireball would just explode as soon as you like threw it out. It just end right at the end of your fist. So yeah, it went from like a joke character to actually people being legitimately good with them. Became the challenge like, can I beat you with the worst character in the game? Rose is a beast in the Alpha series. Oh my gosh. She is really good. She can reflect back fireballs. She's got good range. There's the ship. So in the arcade version, you have like this big galleon like go sailing by you, and of course Super Nintendo is like, we can't do that. We have to kind of cut that so it stays parked way in the background, does not go up near you. Also, Venice, fun fact, it's just nothing but a giant open sewer. Everyone's like, oh, it's an amazing place. It's like, it's neat architectural wise, but I mean, unless you like the smell of sewage, you're not gonna have the best of times. Well, actually, Rose, from the, I believe, the lore standpoint, is M. Bison's good side. He managed to split himself off like a Kami Piccolo situation, which I tried to explain like a week or two back. So she's supposed to be like the good embodiment of M. Bison split out. It's weird. Yeah, taking gondola sewage water ride. Yeah, it's kind of like the back when I was in San Antonio in like the early 90s, they had the river walk, and people were like, oh, it's a great place here, we got restaurants, and that was like an open sewer with black water. It's like, oh my god. But apparently they've cleaned it up, and it's no longer foul smelling and just terrible, so now it's a place to hang out.
Round one, fight!
Speaking of Dan, here we go. He actually has a super move that's just nothing but him taunting.
Round two, fight!
Nope, wrong move. Level 3! I am Muay Thai Master. You are sucking gravel. It's like, what's my name? What's my nickname, Master? You are Grasshopper. What's my nickname? You are sucking gravel. I'm never coming back to the strip mall dojo again. You suck. Oh, here we go. Story time. Nope, or not. not? Okay, because I thought Ryu was like the story element person, like, hey, you beat my master, I'm going to beat you, you suck. I am better than him. I guess Sagat's the final one. This is where the game started changing, I think, the endings. Now, it's kind of weird is they gave Ryu red hair, because in the very first Street Fighter, he actually had red hair. He also had red shoes. Unfortunately, the red shoes did not make a comeback, which is rather sad. Oh, right to the junk. And then for whatever reason, Street Fighter 2, they're like, well, we can't have a Japanese guy with red hair, that just doesn't make sense. So he lost the red hair, lost the red shoes, slippers, and was the Ryu we all know today. And then for Alpha, they're like, well, this is technically before Street Fighter 2, so we're going to give Ryu back his red hair. And we're still going to lose the slippers, though. Those aren't coming back. Knee to the face. Don't worry, it's all over, as I say to your unconscious body. Yep, so in this game you have custom endings. Like, okay, Sagat's the final boss for me because it's story-wise stuff. This is where Sagat turned into like a total roid monster. Did you think you could escape from me? Now I found you, you must be killed. That seems rather dramatic. In your dreams, warrior. I sound dramatic. My dreams are your nightmares. Wake me up. Wake me up inside. Can't wake up. Oh no.
Round one, fight!
It's like, spam the attack. This is also the game that gave like Sagat a 7-hit uppercut. Because he wasn't like nearly as frightening before. Ah, okay, right through. Invincibility frames.
Round two, fight!
Start jamming on Fierce Kick. Can I hit him? No! Game denies me. Okay. Oh, I missed. Goodbye, Super Bar. Sagat, you're through! Your Muay Thai is old and useless if you try me. Again. Talking like Christopher Walken, speech patterns. I'll crush you. Yeah. Into the air I went. Out with the old. In with the new. Months later, at a Muay Thai arena. 10 minutes before the main event with the... Next line, please. Champion Adon! Next. Mr. Adon, there is a problem. Your challenger was beaten by a mysterious warrior. moments ago. Ooh, what did he look like? Dressed in black with red hair. Oh, Ryu changed his gi, okay. Yes, William Shatner. Pauses. Spock, we need to go over there. Do the things that need to be done. Pause and talk quickly. And okay, speed up the credits. No! I thought I could on this version. But I have a trick. Super speed! Yeah, still going. Yay! Alright, reach the end. There we go. Super turbo speed? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be fun because this game runs at 30 frames per second. So it'd be like super massive dropped inputs. Street Fighter what? What? So let's see. Yatsu Sagat. So it's on turbo speed already. We're gonna really crank it up. We'll do T. Wallace's suggestion. Here we go. It actually went better than I thought it would. Okay, one around. Okay, I'm good. It's like just trying to pull off like a super move at all. Nope. Yeah. Carefully up to Ken. There we go. Anyone ever main with Zangief? My friend Fico actually is in, shows up occasionally because the time zone differences are pretty big for him. He actually has the world record last I saw for Ultra Street Fighter 4 with Zangief. For the speedrun for that. He actually mains Geef. There is another guy I'm dropping the name on right now who's actually a pro Geef player. But yeah, in the arcades it was very rare to find a Geef player at all. Yeah, Geef mains are kind of few and far between. Street Fighter 4, I'd pick them just to basically kind of screw with people. They're like, what in the world? So you don't really come across somebody like too often. Like Ultra Street Fighter 4 was like introduced Hakan. And so I could actually play with him and it'd throw people off because they weren't used to fighting him. So you could actually throw people off quite a lot. Let's see, can I do a 360? I do a spinning pile driver. Okay, so I can get like the spinning pile driver kick move, but I can't get the punch one to come out.
Round 2, fight!
Slowly, I hop at you. There we go. Spinning pile driver. Come closer, little girl. Spin for justice! There we go. Alright, so no Street Fighter 2, we played that enough here. Or Street Fighter 2 Alpha, I should say. Let's see. Wrong menu, screwed things up. Close content, there we go. Okay. Back to Super Nintendo. Oh yeah, baby. By the way, it's like Mortal Kombat games I'm always terrible at. I enjoy playing them. Like, I liked Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. That was a lot of fun. I was terrible at 2. 1, I was semi-decent. But, like I said, it's like, I'm more of a Street Fighter 2 player, so I'm used to pressing back to block, and then you actually have to hit a block button in this game, which kind of throws me off a little bit. Mortal Kombat 10, aka X, was a lot of fun. That's just like the one, like the most modern one I've actually really enjoyed playing. Alright, game mode, normal button configuration. Here we go. So L and R and blocks, it's going to be those buttons. High, low, high kick. Yep, the first Mortal Kombat movie was probably the first video game adaptation that was like decent. But keep in mind, at the time, we only had Super Mario Brothers and Street Fighter to go off of. Street Fighter has gone on to be a kind of cult classic. You know, it's one of those like so bad it's funny movies like The Room. But Mortal Kombat was actually pretty decent, I remember thinking at the time. Its sequel, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, is another... It's fallen into like the same category as The Room and Street Fighter, as I mentioned before. As in just like hilarious, like hilaribad movie. It's like it's so hilariously bad that you just have a good time watching because it's just so terrible. You like the Super Mario Brothers movie? You are the first person in existence that I've ever heard say that word out loud and not in an ironic way. So you are a first, sir. I salute you. So this is the Super Nintendo version, of course, because it's Super Nintendo night. I'm doing all this. So this actually looks really good. This actually looks better than the Sega Genesis version. Wait a minute, I think I screwed my buttons. Yes, I did. Reset. So the behind the scenes of like the Super Mario Brothers movie is like absolutely amazing, like just a horrible, god-awful train wreck. Which is like really entertaining to read about now, but like all the stars were like drunk on the set. Let's see, there was a series called What Happened? Just put out by one of the guys who used to be in the Super Best Friends. Link it here in the chat real quick. And here we go. This kind of touches upon like the major things that happened, like in the making of like the Super Mario Brothers movie, like how it all went to hell and back. So, all right, let's try this again. Button configuration. Okay, so high kick, low kick, high punch, low punch. Okay, there we go. This should be good. Pardon me. Yeah, it was said Dennis Hopper didn't even bother learning the script because they just change it like 20 minutes before they start to shoot. So they're pretty much trying to like ad lib and just everything else. You'd have to try to learn it on the spot.
Scorpion. Fight. Come here. Excellent.
Aha! Surprise! Oh man, this game is so clunky. That was the thing about the Super Nintendo version. It's like, it looked better, but man oh man. It was very slow.
Scorpion.
There's like massive delay on this. I wonder if I could actually speed it up with input removal, but probably not.
Fight. Come here. Excellent.
Gray sweat! No one bleeds.
Excellent.
I'm instantly triggered.
Win.
Too violent. Yes, people thought that this game, not the Super Nintendo version, mind you, but this game was so violent. Like, my parents were watching, like, I recorded a, don't know what channel it was, but it was like a history of video games type deal. It was actually more of the history of Atari. But then they eventually went into, like, the more modern, like, console war type stuff. And it went to, like, the congressional hearings about video game violence. And they were showing clips of, like, Mortal Kombat and stuff. My parents were like, they watched it with me because they were just like, they didn't know about all this stuff that had happened. And they're just like, they thought this was violent? I'm like, yeah, this was the game, you know, that you guys were against for a long time. My mom was like, Mortal Kombat's too violent. I don't want you to play that game at all.
Win.
And it was like, and now she looked at it now, she's like, that game is tame. It's like, yes, it is. It's like, it's just a difference in time and everything. You know, those might have been shocking at the time, but I mean, it was just over the top ridiculous. Yeah, The Godfather was more violent, also a lot more, you know, even the movie, if we're talking about that versus the video game, because there was a Godfather video game eventually, but... Godfather's Pizza was probably more violent than this. Is Godfather's Pizza still a thing? Oh no! I DI'd!
Win.
I think so. That would not surprise me if that would be the case.
Okay.
I think the Mafia games were probably based on the Godfather movies. It seems right up the alley. And Fireball! Or not Fireball, because... Kick to the face! Kick to the face! Kick to the face! The delay on this move is insane, by the way. It's like, I'm like, hitting like tap tap kick, and then it goes. It's like, wow. It's like a quarter second, half second later. Okay, just don't do anything. Good. Oh, I wanted to do the finishing move. Liu Kang has the most violent finishing move in this game, if you've never seen it. That's right, they didn't give him the low fireball until 2. That's what it was. I keep trying to do like the low one. I swear Raiden's yelling "Mother from LA." Like, your mother's from LA! It's like, oh, how dare you sully my mother's name with the city of Los Angeles. He's actually yelling gibberish, but that's half the fun. Man, this game is so freaking stiff. It is hard. Just like because the controls are so delayed. Alright, we're doing the stage fatality. No heads, no blood anywhere, just spikes on the ground. Oh, it's supposed to be hitting kicks. Okay, I was like hitting the punches like, why isn't this working? So apparently you have to hit kicks on that one. Didn't know. Go tapped.
Wins.
Alright, here we go. Oh, it's not gonna do it! There we go. Shield your eyes, children. That was far too violent. Yeah, the fatalities for most of the cast were kind of tame. I'm like, oh, how far we have come. So I remember playing a game in the arcade called Time Killers. And that was like far more violent than this game ever was. It's like you can just like, you're like chopping off people's heads and limbs constantly in that game. Blood was all over the place. But for some reason it didn't get the attention as Mortal Kombat did because of digitized characters.
Sub-Zero wins. Sub-Zero.
Alright, so let's see how this goes. My opinion on Mortal Kombat 2, it's a better game, but I'm still terrible at it. It's like, oh, it just decides to give up on the block button. I was holding it down. It's like, that's interesting. Oh, this game is like so delayed you can throw people off the ground. It's like, what are you doing, Scorpion?
Scorpion wins.
Oh yeah, a lot of people loved Mortal Kombat 2. As I said, I just wasn't really a Mortal Kombat person. Like, I liked Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I thought that was a lot of fun. There it is. It's like, there's a Japanese version. I don't have the American version. No, there it is. It's like, wait a second, what? But yeah, a lot of people love Mortal Kombat 2. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 I liked a lot because of the combo system they had in there. But still, like I said, anything that has to do with pressing like a block button still throws me off as a Street Fighter player. Wrong button. Reset. Speed up. There we go. Options! I actually played this one quite a lot at the arcade. They had it at one of the bases we were stationed at, so got somewhat decent at the time. Mistimed that. Why are you punching me in the face?
Scorpion wins. Round 2. Fight.
I just love doing that opening with that kick. It'd catch so many people off guard in the arcade too. Because like in the arcade machine, the time was a little bit better. So I was like, fight! And just all of a sudden, like, kick it out of nowhere, right in your face. Wow, the computer did a fatality. You almost never see that.
Scorpion wins.
Game's like, nah, we're not playing that game.
Fatality.
So, Nintendo kind of reversed its whole stance on the video game violence thing. Because they got their butts kicked so bad by the Sega Genesis for the first game, so that's why they included blood. And the reason behind it, why they suddenly started including blood and more violent content, was, well, now we have a rating system. So I was like, aha, really? Yeah, like the marketing blitz for this, even like Mortal Kombat 1 was pretty big, but 2 was like huge.
Scorpion wins. Round 2. Fight.
Yeah, my hands aren't fast enough. They're actually swelling up from playing arcade games for 2.5 hours almost.
Round 3. Fight.
Let's see if I can timer scam them. I keep holding down and block, never letting go. I think the AI might be a little simplistic in this game. By the way, the task of this, if you've never seen the task of this game, is absolutely epic. Oh, I'm about to hit the corner. What will happen then? Nope. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna timer scam them. AI just does not know what to do.
Wins.
But hey, got past the first round.
Round
Which is pretty good for me in this game, I'll tell you that. I recognize that sound effect from Melina's size firing off. It's from Space Pirates! The best FMV game ever made. With actors featured entirely of homeless people.
Melina wins.
I should do another FMV night sometime soon.
Fight.
It's my first day, lady!
Finish it. Superb. Melina wins.
Oh. Like, of all, like, the people in the Street Fighter, not Street Fighter games, like Mortal Kombat games, I swear, like, Sub-Zero is, like, the most Street Fighter-like character. Okay, that was weird.
Round 1. Fight. Melina wins.
Well, that's the thing. It's always tough to get people to buy versus looking at stuff. That's why you have window shoppers. You know, it's like, are you looking to buy anything? No, I'm just looking.
Finish it. Melina wins.
Alright, Melina, you win. You win. You always win. Here it is. Since tomorrow will be depending on the other ad that I place the rest of the year scoring site. Oof. Hopefully it works out for you. I mean, you already had a couple of buys already, I believe. Violence control. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 3 was kind of okay, but Ultimate was like the better one of them. Fatalities on, blood on. Yes. Do not turn that off, ever. But that was just like, oh, look, you can... Look, Mom and Dad, you can turn the blood off, and then you just leave it on. It's like, it was a dumb thing. So, let's see. High kick. Low kick. Okay. Now, actually, in this one, I don't change it because I remember, like, the combo structure from this in the default. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 4, I don't think anybody is really a fan of on a serious level.
Choose your destiny.
Novice, I am terrible at these games.
Round 1. Fight.
Yep, Mortal Kombat 11's out.
Fight.
Hey, I still remember that combo. You gotta pull it off stupidly fast, though. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 11's out, but, like, 10 or X seems to be like the more popular one. Told Mortal Kombat's favorite, Mortal Kombat 2. Yeah, that might kind of give away your age slightly, but who knows? Maybe you're just a retro lover. Maybe you're in the FGC, the fighting game community, and you love the classics. What was that possibility too? She didn't even know what it was. Yeah, youngins. Those crazy kids. Yeah, well, that can't be too surprising. I mean, the game Mortal Kombat 2 came out before they were born, so can't say I'm too surprised on that one. Oh, brutality. Not to say I'm surprised, because I remember, well, at least in the arcade version, it exploded into like 5 rib cages, 20 femurs, and about 4 skulls. I have like no idea how to play like anybody else. I think Liu Kang is still the same. I don't think they really changed too much from Mortal Kombat 2 to this one, if I remember correctly. But I don't know any of his combos. Sub-Zero is the only one I really kind of mained, so to speak.
Round 2. Fight.
Actually, I wonder if everybody has the same combo. Nope. Yep, fatalities, friendships, realities, brutalities. They also had animalities, which was like turn you into an animal for some reason. I don't know why.
Round 1. Fight.
To remember his move. There we go.
Round 2. Fight. Finish him.
That one I don't remember at all. Alright. But with that, you know it's coming. we've reached the end of the stream because my hands are like literally swollen. It's like, oh my gosh, my hands knew it. They are not happy right now. It's like if I have had a webcam up, you guys can see it's like my left hand is fat. My right hand looks like I've like been slammed into a car door or something. It's not happy. But yeah, I always end it abruptly. Gotta keep you guys surprised and keep you on your toes. So of course, thanks for hanging out in the stream. It was a lot of fun playing Super Nintendo fighting games. And of course, T. Wallace, yes, with his amazing 4 bits. He was the top cheerer for the week / month / whenever they decided to reset it. But shout out to Nimix, T. Wallace. Let's see who else scrolling up here. Sakido came back. Yep, talking about that here. Hopefully, got that to work with the Happy Paradise finally. Big Dano1, new person showed up tonight. That's cool. And anybody else? I think that's just about it. And I know we had a lot of lurkers too, and that's always welcome as well. So for my usual spiel, you always know it's coming there. I do stream at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you don't know when that is, just type it in the Google. It'll tell you for wherever you are in the world. Also check me out on Twitter at Wurzel555. So I always post up around 2 or 3 hours in advance what I'll be doing, or if I need to cancel. So hopefully I'll be streaming tomorrow. I'm not sure. Like I said, I gotta have the my hand swelling in my hand go down. The fun of arthritis and being old at a young age. So I don't think I'll be doing a Bayonetta 2 stream tomorrow. Like I said, normally I alternate back and forth between Bayonetta runs and something different. So I don't think I'll be doing that. I'll probably be doing FMV games tomorrow. So we'll see what I can whip out. I definitely for sure I'll be playing Space Pirates. But probably crank out the usual suspects, Double Switch, maybe some Crime Patrol, all the other good stuff. So let's see, is there anybody else streaming right now? Nah, not really. We'll see where it goes. So thanks for hanging out. See you later, Nimix, and everybody else. And hopefully see you next time. Hopefully tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See ya.